Woman reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, a member of the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, and the sponsor of this legislation, Mr. McCaul.
Gentleman from Texas, Mr. McCaul, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my fellow Texan friend, Chairman Smith, for his support, Ranking Member Johnson, and Dan Lipinski, my cohort on this bill. We've passed this in 2 Congresses prior. This will be our 3rd attempt, and let's hope the 3rd time will be a charm. For most of us around the country, it's hard to think of anything else other than the terrorist attack in Boston yesterday. It's a solemn reminder of the threats that we face. While the attention of the American people is focused on the physical attack that occurred during the Boston Marathon, I think it's important that we as leaders in this chamber be frank with the American people about the virtual threat of a cyber attack against our national and economic security interests. We must be vigilant against both. The United States faces several daunting challenges at this moment in history, including emerging threats that we must as a nation be prepared to face head on. Congress is often blamed for not rising to the occasion by being too reactive to events or failing to act at all. I am determined, as my colleagues are, that this Congress tackles head-on the problem of our vulnerable cyber defenses and bolster our security in cyberspace. Last month, our country's top intelligence officials told Congress that the U.S. is vulnerable to cyber espionage, cybercrime, and outright destruction of computer networks, both from sophisticated government-sponsored assaults from countries like China and Iran, as well as criminal hacker groups and cyber terrorists. We know that foreign nations are conducting reconnaissance on our critical infrastructures and utilities, including our gas lines and water systems and energy grids. And if the ability to send a silent attack through our digital networks falls into our enemy's hands, this country could be the victim of a devastating attack. Last December, Iran attacked the state-owned Saudi Aramco with the goal of stopping Saudi Arabia's oil production. Additionally, this year, Iran conducted multiple denial-of-service attacks on major U.S. banks, and just last year, an al-Qaeda operative issued a call for electronic jihad against the United States, comparing our technological vulnerabilities to that of our security before 9/11. Yet while these threats are imminent, no major cybersecurity legislation that would help protect us has been enacted since 2002. Quite simply, we are not prepared to meet the threats of the 21st century. This act improves coordination in government, providing for a strategic plan to assess the cybersecurity risk and guide the overall direction of the federal cyber R&D. It updates the National Institutes of Standards and Technology responsibilities to develop security standards for federal computer systems to ensure computer hygiene and processes for agencies to follow. Our bill also establishes a federal university private sector task force to coordinate research and development, improves the training of cyber professionals, and continues much-needed cybersecurity research and development programs at the National Science Foundation and in NIST. This bill has been endorsed, as the chairman stated, by leading industry groups, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and Tech America. Most importantly, this bill is fiscally responsible. It is not being paid with any new money, since it is intended to work within the boundaries of funds authorized and already appropriated to NSF and NIST. I'm confident that this legislation will advance the work these agencies are doing to bolster our domestic cybersecurity, as much as I'm confident that this Congress will finally address in a meaningful way the urgent need to pass this bipartisan cybersecurity legislation at this time. So I urge my colleagues to support this legislation, and with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Texas reserves. The gentlewoman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield